What's up, guys? Classy Metal here with a very long overdue 7 Deadly Spins video. I've been wanting to knock this video out for about a month. It is a chilly, rainy, nasty morning, so I figured this would be a perfect time to sit in front of the camera and talk about heavy metal with you guys. I've got 7 albums here, or 7 releases that I'm going to show you. A couple of these very easily could be shown again towards the end of next month, early January, when I wrap up 2021 and show my favorite albums of the year, because there's some stuff on this list that I'm going to show you guys today that is very, very good. I'm going to start off with something that I don't show uh, a ton on this channel within this specific genre. I don't show a lot of metalcore. I don't show a lot of deathcore very much anymore, especially in the collection updates, 7 Deadly Spins. They're still scattered within the CD collection, but I don't show them as new stuff coming in quite often. So I hope when I do, you guys take that as something that you check out as well. If it's something within those genre tags sticks out to me, I hope you guys don't just write it off just because of what it is. The first one that I'm going to show is a metalcore. It's kind of hard to pin it down into just metalcore. It is kind of this thrashy metalcore slash deathcore slash melodic death metal hybrid, and it is a very, very stellar release. So I hope you guys take the time to check this one out. This is a band called the Delirium Effect, with their release entitled this. I believe this is their debut full length entitled Eternal. This was released last month, October 15th, on House of Perdition Records. I had the privilege of seeing this band live last month. They played at the Carnifex show that I went to, and they kind of stood out to me within that show because they offered something a little bit different. Everything there felt like straight up deathcore. I can get a little bit monotonous to me just hearing so much deathcore in succession over and over. This band brought something new to the stage and kind of stood out to me and made me want to check them out a little bit more after the show was over. I'm glad that I did. I pre-ordered this album after the concert, and it was delivered not too long after that. And the album as a whole is very good. As I was saying, it's kind of this melodic death metal, deathcore slash metalcore hybrid project. There's atmospheres thrown in this as well with the synths and the keyboards. They are pretty expertly crafted in the composition, and they lend themselves a definite service to the project as a whole. The composition on this is pretty stellar. The favorite track for me would probably be number 5. It's entitled Marked by Moonlight. That is a very strong thrashy metalcore style track. The vocals on it at times also kind of are reminiscent of almost a Divine Heresy, Bringer of Plagues. That kind of comes to mind as I'm listening to that track. And then one thing about this album that I like is there's always with any release you're going to have certain tracks that you may enjoy a bit more than others. For this, I put on that. I go to track 5 with Marked by Moonlight. I'm like, okay, I'll skip around and listen to the tracks I like, and then track 6 comes on, which is entitled "Oh Theodore," and it's very good in its own way. It stylistically changes a little bit, which is a good thing because these songs all have their own identity, and it keeps me around. And then I find myself going through the rest of the album without skipping anything, and then the CD player starts it over, and I just listen to the whole album. So there's not much filler on this. If you want to check out some standout tracks for this, I do highly recommend Marked by Moonlight. If you like a bit more deathcore, melodic death metal style, if you check out the Bandcamp link that I'm going to put in the description, Blood Drunk, I believe, is the track number 3 is the first one that you will be introduced to. That one has a bit more deathcore vibe going on, a bit heavier, and the song God Complex is another very strong track on this, deathcore style track on this. But definitely give Delirium Effect a shot. I really dig these guys. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to see them live, and funny enough, they actually aren't located too very far from me. I think they're about a little over an hour away, so it's kind of nice when you find something that's been that close to you this whole time and you haven't heard it before. Finding something new like that is always a plus to going to concerts and everything else. So definitely check out the Delirium effect. That is eternal. Changing gears completely, we have some kind of cavernous, grim, raw black metal out of Missouri. And for this release, I won't call Missouri. I will pronounce it Misery because that would be very fitting for this. This is Aphelion with the Chill of Heaven's Abandonment. I kind of found this on accident. I do love an EP, a couple of EPs that Aphelion put out in the past, simply entitled 1 and 2. I have one on CD. I have been hunting tirelessly to find a copy of 2 to no avail. I was just kind of doing a random search for that EP when I stumbled across this. This is a full length that they put out in December of last year. I believe the physicals weren't available till this year. At the time of me making this video, there are 4 copies of this left on their Bandcamp. So if you check this out and you like it, I highly suggest that you go grab yourself a copy of this immediately, or you'll end up like me, tirelessly searching for that physical copy of the release that you are missing. Killer black metal. The first track starts out with this very cavernous, raw, low production. It's hard to put into words. It's a very dark track. It kind of roped me in. I know it may be off-putting. Sorry, I hit the camera. It may be off-putting to some people, but stick around for this. This album, I was speaking on compositions for the previous album that I was talking about, but the composition on this and the tempo changes within this album are brilliant. It is a genius release. That first track just kind of puts you in this very dark place, and then the second track, Poxbearer, you get this tempo change, and you get tempo changes within that song, but the musicianship and the memorable riffs going on with that kind of pique your interest. And then track number 3 is kind of like the culmination of everything that I love about this band. The name of that track is Victorious Anguish, and it is almost like this abrasive versus harmonious track. It just culminates everything that I love about Aphelion in one particular track. If you were going to check anything out from this release, I definitely suggest that you check out Victorious Anguish. I enjoyed the whole album as a whole. The tempo changes found without kind of make the album as a whole more interesting. You kind of want to see where they're going after one particular track and feeding into the next. Kind of makes you want to keep on listening, and before you know it, the entire album is over. Track number 5, Spires of Fire and Iron. That's another one that kind of changes up a little bit. You kind of get this atmospheric vibe going on. There's some synths going on in that track as well. Definitely check this out. I know Jake from the Upside Down Church channel. He listened to this, and I think he enjoyed it about as much as I did as well. So I hope you guys take the time to check this one out. As I said, there are only 4 copies available on Bandcamp at this moment. So if you're wanting a physical for that, I highly suggest that you go ahead and grab one ASAP. Next up, this is a band that has been featured on 7 Deadly Spins in the past. I think I showed their 2019 EP, Seer, pretty early on in the 7 Deadly Spins series. This is a full length that came out. I think this came out in October as well. October was a good month for releases as a whole. I was blown away by this. I did enjoy that 2019 EP quite a bit. This blew my mind with how good this is. This is Drune with their self-titled full length. I don't know if I mentioned that. This is 4 tracks, about 50 minutes long, of sludgy, stoner, atmospheric doom metal. One thing about Drune that I really love, I don't personally partake in extracurriculars or intoxicating things that some of you may indulge yourselves in from time to time. If I did, I think this is one of those albums that I could put in and it would be completely enhanced by that. I am not advocating that at all. Don't get me wrong. But if I did, this would be an album that I think I could space out to. One thing about Drune is they have this inept, inexplainable, I guess, ability to kind of lure you into this kind of captivated state and keep you in like this trance-like state and just completely crush your life force beneath like just heaviness and sorrow. And it's hard for me to put into words just how much I do enjoy this release. Spoiler alert, I will probably be talking a little bit more about this particular release towards the end of next month and into January. I did enjoy this particularly a bit more than I expected. I feel like this album as a whole had no business being as good as it is, and that's saying a lot. The fourth track, I Watched the Woods March into War, is about as perfect of a stonery, sludgy, atmospheric doom metal track as I can imagine. Has almost like this folky Americana vibe going on within it as well. The song itself just feels like it's telling a story, and I am a huge advocate for this album. So definitely, if you're into any type of sludgy, stonery doom, I highly recommend you check out Drune. Next up, this is one that I blind pre-ordered just on looking at the album cover and knowing where it came from, and I was not disappointed whatsoever. Oliver over at Blackline Records kind of has a knack for finding these almost obscure melodic black metal projects and releasing them through his label. He has put out some bands there that I have fallen head over heels for, some bands that I had never heard until released on his label. And this is another one of those bands. I never probably would have heard this had it not been for Blackline Records. This is a melodic black metal, has some death metal elements going on as well, but mainly melodic black metal. This is a debut EP from this project, and they're out of Sweden, which Blackline Records is located in Sweden, so that possibly helps. The band that I'm speaking of is Avdagata. I may have butchered that. These will all be listed in the description, and we'll have Bandcamp links so you can listen to them for yourself, just for some of you that may be new to the Seven Deadly Spins and never seen these. So just so you know, everything's in the description, because I know I butcher, especially like I don't speak Swedish. I don't speak foreign languages, so I have a hard enough time with English and my southern accent. So we have Avdagata with Damnatio, Cursus. This also came out in October. I said like October 15th was a good weekend for heavy releases. It was a good month as a whole for extreme music releases. 5 tracks, the bookend tracks. The first track, which is also entitled the band name Avdagata, and then the final track Tilin Tegura. Those are my favorite 2 tracks out of the 5, but this is another release that I feel like there's not a whole lot of filler on. The album as a whole, it's only 20 minutes, so the EP as a whole kind of flies by. It is very interesting, and it's very well crafted melodic black metal. The founder of this band, the vocalist and the founder, Seb, I believe his name is Seb Drago, created Avdagata as a project to kind of do this introspection into himself, into his own psyche, into his own personality, and kind of translate that into music. It was kind of like this self-awareness, self-finding within a musical project. And when you put that much of yourself out there and into a release, I think it kind of translates over. When it's something that you care about, something that you're that passionate about, it bleeds into your music, and it definitely does on this. It's another I keep using the word captivating, but they're able. Damnatio, Cursus definitely is a trip into Seb's psyche and mindset, and you kind of feel like you can look into his eyes just by listening to this album and kind of be mirrored into what kind of person into almost like his soul, kind of. He puts his soul into this release, and it is a killer release. So definitely check that one out. Next up, we have some more grim, cold, evil black metal. This is a project out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Definitely a cold place, a definite nice setting for black metal. This is a band that's in the kind of new wave of U.S. black metal releases. They have a very throwback sound. This easily sounds influenced by some of the like 90s Norwegian black metal. This is another band. I'm probably going to butcher the name. Vredensdal, Vredensdal with Silence is Eternal. This band has been putting out material since 2018. This is my introduction to this band. This is just, as I said, thrashy black metal out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was roped in completely by the very first track, Cold Northern Hellscape. It kind of sunk its teeth into me and dragged me into this kind of dark, cold, lonely place, and I was there. I was stuck there for the entirety of this album, and I immediately purchased this album after its ability to put me there. I need to do some backtracking and check out their early discography, because if it's anything like this, I think I will fall head over heels in love with the entire discography. One thing about it, they do offer on their Bandcamp the option to have your digipack signed or not. I kind of went out of my normal way and actually had this one signed. I usually don't do that, and like the more I look at it, I almost want to order another copy now that isn't signed. I'm kind of weird about that, but I'm weird about a lot of things. Going back to the album, this was released on Screaming Skull Records, by the way. This is my introduction to Screaming Skull, so that may be a label I need to kind of delve a little bit deeper into. Cold Northern Hellscape, that was my introduction. It's probably my favorite track on this release as a whole. There's a couple of other tracks, the final two tracks, A Forest of Light. That one sounds like it came straight out of 90s Norway. It is just thrashy black metal goodness. I absolutely love that track as well. And then the final track, Silence is Eternal, that the title track for this album, that is another just killer track. If you're going to check out anything on this, I definitely I highly recommend checking out the first track first, Cold Northern Hellscape, and then you really can't go wrong with a track after that. Maybe check out A Forest of Light. That one, just thrashy, nasty goodness here from Vredensdal. So good stuff there out of Wisconsin. I was very surprised to stumble upon that one. Number 6. This is an album. This is an album that kind of proves to me that my personal tastes have changed. I've become a bit more open-minded with things. This is an album and a band that I probably would have completely written off, a band that I probably wouldn't have liked at all just a few years ago. I've kind of warmed up to this kind of thrash metal, speed metal sound, and it's grown on me quite a bit. There are some releases that I wrote off and I dogged and talked bad early on during my tenure on YouTube that I could probably go back and listen to now and respect and appreciate more than I did back then. So personal growth is always a good thing, I guess. So this is a killer release. I'm glad that I've gotten to the point where I can appreciate something like this and really dig this. This is the band Black Mass with their latest release, Feast at the Forbidden Tree. I've seen this one kind of making the rounds. A funny thing about this release, I saw Pedro on AP Reacts got this in his Metalhead box this past month, and he kind of said it looked like Manowar there, just from the guys, like the scantily clad men there dancing around the tree. Don't make a mistake about this. This does not sound anything like Manowar. This is thrash metal. It has some black and speed metal vibes going on in this as well. This is their third full length. I think they've been putting out full length since 2015. I'm wanting to say this is their newest. This came out. I think this came out fairly recently, maybe September, possibly October. I know it hasn't been out too terribly long. This was released on Redefining Darkness Records, and this band is out of Boston, Massachusetts. Black Mass, as I was saying, puts out this nice kind of black and speed thrash metal hybrid. The classic thrash sounds are there. Has almost like this destruction vibe going on at times, almost like this German black metal, German thrash metal vibe going on. They are very well crafted on their instrumentations. The riffage on this is very memorable, and another going back to compositions, I think the compositions on this are lend this album a definite favor. My favorite little section of this particular release are tracks number 6 and tracks number 7. Track number 6, Nothing is Sacred, kind of melted my face off, and then track number 7, They Speak in Tongues, just kind of pissed on it while it was melted on the floor. They are no apologies on this release whatsoever. Very blackened themes going on, very anti-religious themes going on, but a killer release here from Black Mass. Definitely check that one out. Don't fall into that trap to thinking you're getting into something Manowarish there. You are not. You are getting into some thrash metal that will snap your neck off. So good stuff there. And then last but not least, we have some atmospheric black metal. I had kind of gotten away from atmospheric black metal a little bit. It felt like I was hearing so many cookie cutter copy and paste bands that all sounded almost identical. It was just beginning to get a little trite, and I was getting burnt out on it. There are still a few people that will throw out recommendations for atmospheric black metal, and when they do, I stop and I take notice, and it's something that I want to listen to. This was recommended by Justin from Vestabon's Blood Box. I definitely, when he doesn't make a ton of recommendations like through Facebook and online just publicly, but when he does, it's something that I definitely take the time to stop and check out, and usually it's something that I do enjoy. This is one that I was kind of blown away with, so I thank you, Justin, for sharing this one and opening my eyes to this release. This is Celtar with Autoscopia. This is a project out of New Jersey. It is a project that lends itself to celebrating the members' Iberian heritage. Iberia is the Iberian people were a prehistoric people located, I think, in the south. I think it was southeastern portion of Spain. They eventually took over that southeastern peninsula there, and I believe it was dubbed the Iberian Peninsula. I'm not very well versed on the Iberian heritage, but one thing I can say about this release, even though I don't personally have any ties or knowledge of the Iberian heritage that he's celebrating on this release, this is an atmospheric black metal release that I can put on. I can close my eyes and listen to this and be transported to another place entirely. It kind of takes me to this foreign place where you can almost immerse yourself into a prehistoric and ancient battle, and you're kind of left with this like longing and almost nostalgic feeling, this longing for a past that's long gone, and it can translate over into your own ancestry, your own heritage. You can kind of translate that over, so it definitely is a win for me personally as an album that he's able to do that, and it can make you want to check out his heritage as well. The band described itself as echoes of ancient reverence, and it does. It gives this almost reverent, spiritual homage to an ancient people, and I can definitely get behind that. So this was a killer release, and I do thank you, Justin, for recommending this. It is 4 tracks long. It was released on Cassis Belly Music and Beverina. They do put out a lot of atmospheric black metal, and I like just the epicness and originality, and just the ability of this album being able to transport you into another timescape and another place. So killer stuff there from Celtar. that's all I've got for this video. I hope you guys take the time to check these bands out in the description. I will try to get another fairly large just general collection update up very soon and get back on the CD. I still trudging my way through the CD collection, but we will get there. Stay classy, stay metal, check all this stuff out in the description, and I will see you guys very soon, I promise.